Okay, there we go. Uh, okay, see if anybody else shows up here. Hello, everyone. It's a Wednesday, or Wednesday. It's a Tuesday. 9:30. Okay, nothing going later. All right. Hopefully, we'll get a few people start trickling in soon. All right. See a few people start trickling in. All right. How's it going today? Go. Hello, 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 hello. We're gonna start in a few minutes. Okay. I just want to be sure that some people had a chance to trickle in since I got a late start getting on here. So hopefully you're cool with that. I'll turn off the music here. I was just putting that on until people started coming in. So Oop. All right, there we go. How we doing today? How's everybody? I'm very good. Did you have a good weekend? I hope you had a very nice weekend. Just want to be, sit and chill and relax just a little bit. I hope you had a chance for that. And the weather has been very nice. Yes. When is the next test? Well, actually, we're going to talk about that here after we're done with this lesson here today. So, yes, I will be talking about the next test here for sure. So, I will answer that there after we're done with our section here today, Catherine. Hopefully, you guys are, yeah, no problem, of course. Of course. I had, in actuality, it's going to be pretty exciting because, I mean, when I heard the news yesterday about the vaccine there, a very super promising vaccine coming out yesterday. I mean, maybe this whole thing hopefully will be over, by spring. I mean, I'm crossing my fingers, and toes and everything. I was saying that yesterday to my other classes, but I hope this whole COVID-19 nonsense finally gets to go away. I'm gonna be really super happy if that's the case. So I was like super excited yesterday. I'll be perfectly honest with you, super duper excited. I was like, oh my gosh, there's hope. There's hope to getting outside of our houses. Yeah, so it was 90% effective. I read the article. It's a two-stage dose. They need to do more phase 3 trials, so they want to be sure that it's safe and effective. They had a pretty good cross-section of people. So, hey, Tom, welcome. Welcome. They had a really good cross-section of people, so the sample size is like 40,000 from a lot of different diverse groups. So it wasn't just, one group of people, and it had little to no side effects. So it is extremely promising of a vaccine, and if it can help as many people as possible across the board, regardless of you know ethnicity or whatnot. I mean, that's great. That's really good. So I'm super high on that right now, about where we're at. So that's where I'm at right now. So hopefully, like I said, good things, positive vibes. Okay, positive vibes. We're about positive vibes. All right, been going on here a little too long. I apologize. All right, we gotta get going here. All right, let's do it. All right. Okay, let's get started today. Welcome back. Welcome back to Tuesday. Hopefully, you had a nice weekend. Certainly sounds like it. I know I did. Talking to Tom and the hashtag boys, you better believe it, I did. All right, so today, what we're going to be doing here is we're going to actually, really quick. Do you guys prefer music in the background or not? I'm gonna put a small little poll here because I don't know if you guys want like music or not. It's up to you. I'm not gonna force the issue there, I suppose. But Twitch has this new service here with the music stuffs. So I guess yes, that's nice. I'll put up a poll here and put up a new poll here. So I've been asking all my classes if they want music in the background just to kind of vibe. So I'll put a poll in there in the chat box. It'll be like 3 minutes or so. All right. If you guys want music in the background, you guys can vote yes. If you don't want music in the background, you can vote no, and I'll just roll with that result. And that's pretty much it. Okay. Just mark Yvonne. Just mark no in the poll, which is at the top of the chat box. Okay. If you do not want to have music in the background. So there's a. There you go. All right. I'll let other people vote on it and stuff, and I'll just roll with the results of whatever it is. So everybody's got a preference, so I'm just gonna roll with it. All right. In any case, while that's happening, today what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be ending off here with chapter 5. So chapter 5 is going to be done after section 5.5. Now, so far what we've been doing here is we've been dealing with ratios and proportions of some variety. Okay, now we've been dealing with just numerical ratios and proportions, which just like say you get again, just like numbers just kind of thrown in there, and then solving for x or solving for the missing value or reducing it down or whatever. Today, what we're going to be doing here specifically in section 5.5 is dealing with word problems that have to do with ratios or proportions. Okay, so that is going to be pretty much all the questions here today, as you can clearly tell, is going to entirely revolve around ratios and proportions with word problems. All right, but we're going to take our time with this section here because I just want to be sure that you guys are, again, at least understand the key aspects, so that way we can properly, set up the problems there and solve accordingly, just like we did last week. So this will be a good reminder for a lot of you from what we did last week if you kind of forgot already. Okay, now the first thing that I do want to point out here is that we want to use proportions, of course, to solve these application problems. Now, some of the keywords that we've seen here so far from what we started with, all right, some of the keywords for proportions and ratios are these words right here. For example, in or for or on or per or or from or to. So again, like 15 mile, you could say like, let's try it, 25 miles per gallon. Okay, so that is a ratio there. For every 25 miles, we use 1 gallon of gas. Okay, that would be a that would be something like that. Okay, so let's see here. All right, so okay, no music in the background. All right, so I'm gonna run with that. All right, that's only fair. Okay, okay, so all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to use this language here of either in or for or on or per or from or to. Okay, these are the words that we're going to be looking out for in order to set up our ratios to find our missing variable. Now, of course, we got to set this up right. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we're working with, okay? All right, let's look at this first example here, and I'll just go ahead and explain this out together so we can see exactly, what we have. All right. So Mike's car can travel 163 miles on 6.4 gallons of gas. How far can it travel on a full tank of 14 gallons of gas? Well, let's take a look here at the first word that I'm going to clue in on that I know I need to use a ratio proportion. So as one of our keywords says up here is on. So we see 163 miles on 6.4 gallons of gas. Okay, so let's go ahead and set this up here appropriately. So remember how it works here for proportions. We want to be sure that we line up our units here appropriately. Okay, we're going to just line up the units here. So we have 163 miles. Don't forget here, one of the things that we did do last week as a friendly reminder is we just labeled each one here. So that way we know what units are going to go on the left and what units are going to go on the right. Okay, that's going to be very important here. So we have 163 miles is equal to 6.4 gallons of gas. So I'll put gallons here. Now we know that we have some amount of miles. We have X amount of miles here. because we don't know how many miles we need to drive here, but we do know how many gallons that we are given here. We want to figure out how many gallons on 14 gallons of gas. We'll put 14 gallons just like so. Okay. Yeah, yeah, you don't want to do that. Yeah, don't mix up the units just like this. That's why I put all the units. Okay, so this is actually a good caution here. Don't mix up the units in the same sides here. So notice I have miles and notice this says miles and gallons here. Okay, you don't want to do this here. So this is pretty bad. That's why I keep all the units on one side and I keep all the same units on the other side, just like so. Okay. Okay. So let's take a look here and see what we get for x. So how do we do that? Well, again, remember, one of the things that we did talk about here previously is when we're solving for these ratios here or proportions, we want to go ahead and cross multiply. So let's cross multiply here. Okay. So on the left-hand side, we have 6.4 times x. And then this is going to equal 163 times 14. That's a times there in the middle. I know that's really hard to see. Okay. Now, can anybody tell me here, what is 163 times 14? For this one here, you can go ahead and use a calculator for this one. So 163 times 14. All right, 2,282. Okay, that sounds just fine. All right. Okay, so that part there is just doing the straight up multiplication between 163 and 14. Now, the second part here that we're going to talk about is the important part that we discussed last time to solve for x. So can anybody tell me what should we do next? How do we solve for x? What was the thing that we did here to solve for x? You guys remember? How do we solve for x here? All right, I divide by 6.4. Okay, so I divide by 6.4 here. That's it? Just on the left-hand side there? Is that all I have to do? On both sides. That's correct. Okay, nice job, Ola. So remember, one of the things that we discussed here last week was this is our first look at algebra here. Okay, this is our first look at algebra. Okay, so really what we're doing here is effectively no. Really effectively what we're doing here is we're effectively just again balancing out both sides. We want to get x by itself. So the way we do that is, since it's 6.4 times x, we do the opposite of times, which is divide. So we divide out the 6.4, so that way the 6.4's cancel out. But we just can't divide by 6.4 on one side. Remember, the key thing here, as we talked about before in algebra, and we'll state it here once again when I don't want to do things. All right. So the key thing here, remember the key here for algebra is, again, balance. All right, everything's going to revolve around balance. That's correct, Jonathan. Absolutely 100%. All right, everything's going to revolve around balance in some way, shape, or form. All right, so we're going to go with that premise here throughout these sections. All right, so let's go ahead, and again, you could use a calculator for this part as well. Let's do 2282 divided by 6.4. All right, and can anybody tell me what we get here? What's our final answer for x? All right, 356.6. All right, good. All right, both very, yeah, depending on how many answers that they want. So 356.56 or 356.6. Both are okay, depending on how many decimal places that they want for the problem. Yeah, all it depends is how many decimal places that like say the homework problem asks you, oh, round to the nearest 1 decimal place or 2 decimal places or whatever. Just depends. But either way, I wouldn't care. But this is the correct answer nonetheless. All right. Very nice. All right. So that, again, I want to go through this problem here very carefully because this is kind of the main crux that we were talking about here last week. And again, this is a good way from the fundamentals that we learned last week about about proportions, pardon me, and ratios. Now we know how to set up word problems in relation to that. Okay. So now we have a good idea about a good solid foundation about, again, just interpreting these problems here and then solving for what we need to do at the end of the problem. Okay. All right. Well, let's try the next one here. Okay. And this time I want you guys to guide me through this. Okay. So let's read this carefully. All right. If 2 pounds of fertilizer will cover 50 square feet of garden, how many pounds of fertilizer are needed for 225 square feet? Okay, so let me read that one more time. If 2 pounds of fertilizer will cover 50 square feet of garden, how many pounds of fertilizer are needed for 225 square feet? So can anybody tell me here, how would I set up this problem? What would I do here? How could I set up this problem? Maybe tell me what would that proportion look like here? 2 over x equals 50 over 225. Okay, that's correct. Nice job, Yvonne. Excellent. Okay, so let's not forget. Now, again, if you're confused, that's just perfectly fine. Remember, we want to just keep our units on the same side. So we want, like, say, pounds on the left side and square feet on the right side, just like Yvonne has it there. So we're going to put like 2 pounds. Okay. And that's going to be equivalent to 50 square feet. All right, and we're given 225 square feet. All right, and some X amount of pounds. We don't know how many pounds of fertilizer that we'll need to cover this amount of ground, but we do know that it's going to be an unknown amount at this point. Okay. Before we move on here, are there any questions about the setup here? About the setup that you see here? I want to be sure that you guys understand that, yeah, of course, as we've mentioned before, the interpretation is the most important part here. So, any questions about the setup? All right. If there are no questions about the setup here, we'll go ahead and see what we can do about solving the problem here. So we're going to go ahead and cross multiply here. We'll cross over here. We'll cross over here. Okay, so on this side here, we have 50x. So 50 times x equals, and we have 2 times 225. Okay. Okay, what is 2 times 225? What's that going to be? What is 2 times 225? 450. Okay, good. All right. And what do we do next? So we have 450 there on the right side, which is correct. Now, what should we do next here? How do we solve for x here? Divide 50 on both sides. Nice job, Yuman. That's correct. Good. Divide by 50 here. That cancels out. We have 450 divided by 50 here. And what's our final answer? 450 divided by 50. What do we get here? 9. All right, perfect. So we need 9 pounds of fertilizer to cover that space. That's fair. Okay, great. Questions about that so far? Okay. All right. Let's have you guys try. Okay. So I want you guys to give it a try. So let's have you guys try letter B. Okay. So I will give you guys like a couple minutes here. Go ahead and, try letter B here. Again, a U.S. map has a scale of 1 inch to 75 miles. Lake Superior is 4.75 inches long on a map. What's the lake's actual length to the nearest whole mile? Okay, so let's go ahead and give it a try. Okay, letter B, and let's see what you guys get. Okay, so once you have an answer there, go ahead and post that in the chat. Oh, yeah. Sorry. That a little better, Yvonne? Sorry, yeah, sorry, my face was in the way. Apologies about that. Let's make sure we give this a try here. See what we get. Uh, 356.3 miles, okay. See if anybody else gets that same answer, or if they have a different answer. Go ahead and post that in the chat there. That was bothersome. All right. That's okay. We're on section 5.5, okay? All right, any other answers here? All right, well, let's give it a try here. And let's see what we get, all right? So, had a couple minutes here or so. All right, so let's see if we get the same answer Yvonne had put up, or we get something different. I'm not sure yet. So, okay, so here we got 1 inch. All right, so we got 1 inch on the, again, we'll have inches on the left, we'll have miles on the right. So 1 inch here is going to equal 75 miles. Okay, and we're given the fact that this is 4.75 inches long for Lake Superior. And that's going to be X amount of miles. Okay, so this is how the proportion should be set up, just like so. Okay. Yeah. If that's what it came out to be, then yes, it would be 356. Okay, we want to cross multiply here. So here we get a nice 75 times 4.75. And that equals 1x. Now 1x is just x. So that shouldn't be too much of a problem here. So we have 75 times 4.75. Again, for these problems here, you can go ahead and use a calculator for these. So that's fine, and that's your answer there, 356.25. Okay, so is equal to x. And so here we get, as Yvonne has correctly stated here, x is equal to 356 if we round to the nearest mile. Okay, and there we go. Got it. All right, good. Okay, any questions about that? Hopefully that wasn't too bad. It's hopefully pretty straightforward there. Sure. So here we got an answer of 356.25. We didn't really round here in this case because it says to round to the nearest whole mile. So the nearest whole mile here is we're going to be focusing on this 6 here. Okay. And then we want to focus on the 2, which is right next door. And because 2 here is 0 to 4, well then in this case here, 6 is going to remain the same. And that'll just remain as 6, and then these two guys turn to 0. So that's why This is going to be 356 as we round here. Hi, Scrid. Yeah, this is pre-algebra here, so okay, no problem. Any other questions before we move on? No? Okay. All right, let's take a look here at let's go ahead and take a look here at another type of problem here. All right, so let's look at this one here. All right, so just have to be a little careful here. A newspaper report says that 7 out of 10 people surveyed watch the news on TV. This is college level here, Scrid. College pre-algebra. 7 out of 10 people surveyed watch the news on TV. At that rate, how many of the 3,200 people in town would you expect to watch the news? Okay, so what we want to do here is, again, let's set up our proportion here appropriately. Again, one of the key words here is 7 out of 10 people. So again, with 7 out of 10 people, we want to go ahead and again make sure people are on one side. And again, we want to say, well, if we want to extrapolate that further, the larger amount being on the other side. Now, how does that look? Okay, because that's really the bigger question. What exactly does that look like? Well, let's take a gander at that. Okay, so here we got 7 out of 10. So we have 7 people out of 10. So I have 7 people out of 10 people. All right. Now we have 3,200 people. Like, say you surveyed 3,200 people and you said, well, hey, you just ask them questions. Say, hey, do you watch the news? Yes or no? And that's the question you ask them. Hey, you watch the news? Yes or no? And so, can't see the writing? I'm confused. Writing's, what writing? You mean on the, okay. So you surveyed 3,200 people, all right? And not all 3,200 are going to say, yes, I watch the news on television, all right? A portion of those people are going to watch the news on TV, but not all 3,200 people. So, if you're curious about where that goes, just based on what you see here, it says how many of the 3,200 people. So, basically, we're going to kind of break this down into two parts here. First of all, how many? So, how many is going to be like X? So, that's going to go up here up top. Thank you for the follow, Scrid. Of the, again, that's going to be our separator. And then the 3,200 people here is going to go here on the bottom. Okay, so this is how we're going to set up our proportion, all right? We have 7 out of 10 people, so 7 people over 10 people. And then again, on the right-hand side, how many? That's X out of, put the separator, and then 3,200 people there on the bottom. And then we're just going to proceed with the rest of the problem the same exact way that we did the last couple of examples here. We're going to go ahead and cross multiply and proceed to solve. So let's see. On the left-hand side, we're going to get 10 times x. And that's going to equal 7 times 3,200. Do I stream any live games? I mean, I have streamed Among Us and stuff like that. If I have a chance to play, that is. It just depends, of course, though. It all depends if I have the time. I don't always have the time, though. So we have 7 times 3,200. Does anybody have an answer for that? 7 times 3,200? That ain't happening, brother. I'm gonna get killed if I 1v1 in Rust. I mean, you'll see me just struggle just putting a building plan together. But yeah, I want to upgrade to stone. Get killed. Okay, 22,400. Perfect. Now what do we do? What should we do next? What do you think we should do next? How are we going to solve for x? Divide by 10. All right, good. Nice. That's right. Okay. And so if we divide by 10 here, what's our final answer? Wrong thing. I gotta move that over to the other side. Let's move that over. All right. Right. Kimba, thanks for the follow. I appreciate you. What's our final answer here, ladies and gentlemen? Let me grab this. Allergies are terrible. All right. Ooh. All right. Spot on. That is correct. Good. 2,240 people is correct. Out of the 3,200 would be expected to watch the news on TV. There you go. All right. Nice job. Okay. Any questions about that example? Hopefully that's not too bad. All right. Okay. Wow, why would you do that? All right, anyway. Why would you want to do that to yourself? Oh goodness. All right. Let's I'm gonna skip that one because it's like, okay. All right. Let's try I want you to try it the correct way. They're just trying to show you the incorrect way, and it makes things more confusing. All right. So let's have you guys try letter B. Okay? Let's have you guys try letter B. All right. And let's see what you guys get. Okay, so let's take a couple minutes here. Again, set up your proportion here appropriately, and then tell me what you get for x here once you put it all together. And we'll do this here together in just a couple of minutes. All right, so let's take a couple minutes here and try this problem out. Oh, that wouldn't be good. I gotta keep remembering, and my face is like too big. Let me, I should probably shrink that. So make sure I shrink that just a bit. My face is too big. It needs to be shrunk. There we go. Got it. And that should be a bit easier. Now you'll be able to see that. No problem. Move the screen up. Okay. We can try and do this. Yeah, this will be a bit easier. Once you guys have an answer, go ahead and post that in the chat there. So. All right, Yvonne says 2,700 out of the 4,500. Okay. So 2,700. Anybody else have any other answers? All right. Well, let's go ahead and see if Yvonne's answer is correct. All right, so we have 3 out of 5 college students. So we have, again, 3 students here. So again, we pulled 5 of the college students, and 3 of them went to this particular community college. Seems fair. And again, this is going to equal, again, 4,500 students. So again, we're going to have X amount of students here, since we know for a fact that we surveyed 4,500 students. We surveyed 4,500 students, or not, well, you get the idea. We surveyed of them, so not all of them received financial aid. I read that wrong. Thought they attended college, but yeah, that's okay. That's my bad. All right, in any case, though, it's going to be X over 4,500 here. That part is correct. We're going to go ahead and cross multiply here. we get 5x is equal to 3 times 4,500. So 3 times 4,500 here, what we're going to have next is we're going to have 5x equals, what was that, 9,000, 13,500. Then we'll divide that by 5. And once dividing this by 5, we're going to end up with, again here, 2,700. Okay, which is the correct answer. So 2,700 kids receive financial aid. And there we go. We got it. Nice. So that is the correct answer. Nice job. Okay, questions about that one? Hopefully that one's not too tough. Okay, cool. All right. So that is how we basically cover all the proportion type of problems here, word problems, I should say, within chapter 5. Okay, so that was kind of the last example there that I kind of wanted to cover for this section right here. Yeah, let me talk about that here, Hannah. That's a fair question here, as was asked earlier. Okay, so that is effectively the end of chapter 5. So I'm going to be making up a test here on chapters 4 and 5. Okay, so there'll be a test on chapters 4 and 5. Okay, so there'll be a test together on both of those chapters. Okay, I haven't made it up just yet, but I will be posting it relatively soon. At the end of hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow, I'll be having at least the whole test posted there. In the due date here for the test, in this case, because I'm not going to be posting anything until tomorrow here, the due date of the test is not going to be a week from now. Instead, that's going to be due next Friday. So next Friday is when the test will be due. So that, just to give you a nice little friendly reminder here, that is going to be the 20th there. So test is due again next Friday on the 20th. Okay, so that'll be yeah, so that's like 10 days from now. So that's plenty of time of which to finish. Okay. Again, same format applies. You guys show me the work. I'll have something on D2L for you to, show me your screenshots here. Once again, many of you have followed that format for a while, so you guys are pretty familiar with that. I'll be just kind of picking questions from each section here within chapters 4 and 5. And then, yeah, that'll be pretty much how we'll be doing things here in terms of the next material here. So reason why we want to do chapters 4 and 5 is because 6 is very different than that of chapters 4 and 5. So we have 2 more chapters left. We have chapter 6 and we have chapter 9. So we have chapter 6 and chapter 9 as our last 2 chapters here that we're going to be covering for the course. Chapter 9 is all about signed number. Let me try that again. Signed numbers, okay? So like positive and negative numbers, okay? That is what chapter 9 is all about. Chapter 6, which is what's coming up next here, is just basics of percentages and decimal percentages and whatnot. So we're going to be talking about percentages here in the next chapter as well, and there'll be a test on that, and there'll also be a test on sign numbers. Those are, to me, 2 different topics altogether. So again, it just makes no sense mixing those up together. So 4 and 5, though, they have a lot to do with each other, so in my opinion. So I wanted to just at least put those two together. Does anybody have any questions in regards to the test upcoming next Friday? Like I said, I'll be posting the test here tomorrow, so any questions at all in regards to the test or anything of the like? No? Okay. So hopefully that's pretty clear about the test here. So I think chapter 6, let me check about chapter 6. I forget how many sections are in chapter 6 off the top of my head. There are not many sections if I recall, but February. Three, one, two, just word problems there. Five. Okay, that shouldn't be too hard though. Okay, fine. All right, that one maybe, maybe not. All right, good stuff. So chapter 6 will take us a little bit of time, and then we'll get to chapter 9 here. So depending on how far we get, again, some parts there, yeah, I think that's fair. Some parts, just to let you know, we may skim a little bit, because I do want to get to chapter 9. I do want to talk about sign numbers. That is something that is rather important to talk about here, considering that's definitely in the next class over. So for those of you who are not aware about the next class, that'll be Math 096 if you're planning ahead. That'd be Math 096. So if you're planning ahead there for what you want to do um, for the next class up, then Math 096 is the way to be. All right. Any other questions about chapter 5 or chapter 4 or the test or anything of the like? Again, this is kind of like you guys. If you guys want to ask me questions in regards to that, you guys can. Hopefully everybody's good then. No? Okay. Wow, this has actually got through faster than I thought. Okay, well, that was unusual to say the least. So there you go. That ain't too bad. Ha ha, yes, yes. Yes, that was actually faster than I thought, to be honest. I thought we would take a little bit longer than than what I was projecting we get done in like 10:40 or so, but yeah, kind of you guys broke my expectations today. Holy moly. All right, I'm really happy about that actually. You guys really are on the ball about this, so very happy to see that. Very, very happy to see that indeed. Okay, if there are no more questions here, for next time, we're going to go ahead and start with chapter 6. Okay, I just kind of I just like to start chapter 6 on a separate day. It's just a lot easier, so we're not doing two things at once that are two separate things. So we'll start with chapter 6 here for next time, and you will see the test appearing on a math lab tomorrow by tomorrow night. So By tomorrow night, you should definitely see. Once again, by the way, there should be a practice test for chapters 4 and 5, so you'll have a chance to practice on that just as usual. And then, of course, when you're ready, you can take the real test, and you'll get a couple retries on that. So that is what's on the docket there going forward. All right. Very nice job here today, everybody. I again want to thank everybody for coming out here today. Okay. We'll come back here on Thursday, and we're going to keep moving forward here with some newer material. All right. Okay, everyone, have yourself a very wonderful morning slash afternoon, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Yes, you have a wonderful day as well, Yaman. All right, everyone, take care of yourselves, and we will see you in a couple of days. All right.